Hi, I'm Mary, and this is another magical math moment. This video is designed for my Algebra 2 students who are looking at working with geometric sequences. Geometric is when you are multiplying by a constant in sequence. So let's get to it. The formula we're going to use is a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1 power. And we can put that in parentheses. That'll probably help. Okay, a sub n is the value of the nth term, very much like what we saw in arithmetic sequences. A sub 1 is still the value of the first term. And then r is what's called the common ratio. And it's basically the multiplicative constant, what we're multiplying by each time. All right, let's try one and see if we can get it. We're going to find the equation of the sequence and then also the value of the 15th term. Okay, so I can see that my first term here is -4. And then I have to figure out what I'm multiplying by each time. Hopefully you're kind of seeing it's not too bad, right? It's -2. But if you're unsure, take 8 and divide it by -4. That gives you -2. 8 times -2 is -16. -16 times -2 is +32. So my ratio is -2. Not bad. A sub n is equal to -4 times -2 to the n minus 1. That's the equation, friends. That's all you do. Now, they also want the value of the 15th term, so I have to let a sub n become a sub 15. This becomes -4 times -2 to the 15 minus 1. Now, the common mistake is to try to make this 8 to the 14th. Remember your order of operations, PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiply. So I have to deal with that first. So I have -4 times -2 to the 14th. I have no idea what that is. Let's see. This is -4 times 16,384. Okay. That's going to give me -65,536. That is wild. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do when you get to this point, depending on what your teacher lets you get away with on a calculator or not, I know I want to see the substitution, and then I would just type it in as this line here. I would do -4 times -2 to the 14th, and I get my answer that way. So that's what I would recommend you do. Okay. I've got another one for you to try. Go ahead and pause the video, give this one a try, and then unpause when you're ready. All right, the first term here, a sub 1 is 120. Now we have to figure out what we are multiplying by each time, right? So if I divide 40 by 120, I'll get 1/3. And that's what I'm multiplying by each time. 40 times a third is 40 thirds, and then 40 over 3 multiplied by a third gives you 40 over 9. Now be careful when you're finding your ratio, because the temptation is to say, oh, I'm dividing by 3. It is a multiplicative constant. Can I spell that? Hot dog, I did. Constant, okay. So we're multiplying, not dividing, all right? So the ratio is 1/3. That means a sub n is 120 times 1/3 to the n minus 1. That's the equation. We're also going to find the 15th term. So we're going to find a sub 15, 120 times 1/3 to the 15 minus 1. Again, at this point, I would just go to the calculator. So I've got 120 times 1/3 to the 14th. And I get this big disgusting thing. Now, when you've got an E, remember that's scientific notation. If I try to convert this over, it won't let me. So that's kind of gross. I hope you don't encounter ones like this. But in the event that you do, you're going to have to, unfortunately, round, which isn't the best situation. So I would leave my answer like that. And that's terrible. I'm sorry I had to do that to you. If you're thinking about, like, I don't know what that number is, remember, when you have 10 to the -5, we're going over to the left. So we would be moving our decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places and we would fill this in with zeros. So you can see this is getting to be a very, very small number, which makes sense, right? As we're looking at this is getting smaller and smaller. And if we go out to the 15th term, it's going to be approaching 0. But that's another conversation for another course. I hope that this video has been helpful for you. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.